So, take us through the process of what it looks like to create your cheeses and different flavors, and how much do you take into account like feedback from people, and what kind of feedback are you getting from people as far as what they're looking for?
Yeah, so like I said before, I start by making my own cashew or almond milk, depending on the cheese. Unlike dairy cheese, I do actually use the whole nuts in my process. Some of my cheeses also have cannellini beans in there just to kind of add a little bit more structure to it as well, and keep my cheeses approachable and affordable to folks as well. And then from there, I actually most of my cheeses are made with the same cashew base. And after the culturing period, I add spices or seasonings to differentiate them. And then I mold them and then I age them for about 2 to 3 weeks. My smoked Gouda, I'm actually, as far as I know, there might be like smaller producers like myself, but as far as grocery store available in New York State, I am the only producer actually smoking cashews for their smoked Gouda. A lot of folks use liquid smoke. The liquid smoke sits on your palate. It doesn't integrate very well at all, and like it just kind of blows everything up. By using real smoke, I'm able to create a more well-rounded flavor that actually is the reason Kindle, my smoked Gouda, is my top seller.
Yeah, you know what? That artificial smoky flavor, you can tell because it's in a lot of stuff these days. And you're like, I know what they think they're going for, but that, like you said, it doesn't land on the tongue like that. And I guess what? I don't think I've ever had a plant-based smoked Gouda. So I would be very interested in trying that at some point. That sounds delicious. So, again, with the, learning as you're building this business, what's been one of the biggest challenges besides losing the space? What else have you come up against that you're like, "I wasn't expecting that," and then how did you solve that?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest learning curve for me has actually just been how to kind of I don't want to use the word wrangle, but sometimes it is a wrangling situation, especially if anyone has had the adventure of finding out, like vending, going to farmers markets, things like that, finding out what markets work for them and what doesn't. There are some uh, communities that absolutely do want nothing to do with what I have. And they are like, I grew up on a dairy farm. They think I'm single-handedly, tearing down the entire dairy
Of
industry, and
course.
I'm the one like destroying all of these dairy farmers. And they want nothing to do with me. But then having to find a way to take those no's in stride and then be like, okay, this is not for them. But then also being like the people who are, the feedback I get actually a lot is I'm scared. I get a lot of people telling me they're scared. And it's a genuine fear. You see it in their eyes because what I'm asking them to do is question everything they know about food. And they don't consciously think that way. But that's what's happening is I am asking them to rethink their entire structure around how they eat. And it takes like a lot of patience and a lot of holding space and being like, hey, listen, unless you're allergic to nuts, I have free samples. Taste it. Let me know what you need. And if they, usually they're sold and they're like, I'll take three. And I'm like, great. So great doing this with you. See you next time. And then sometimes they're like, it's not for me. And I'm like, well, thank you so much for trying. And I've also, to kind of appeal to that crowd as well, I make cheese, but I also have started adding sauerkraut and kimchi as well as a bunch of condiments to um my SKUs, my product line, because everyone kind of knows what sauerkraut is and everyone knows what hot pepper jelly is. If you're from the Midwest or Western New York anyway. Um everyone knows what these things are. So they're a little bit more approachable and starting people off with being like, wow, fear and abundance, Allie, she makes the best sauerkraut. One day I'm going to try her cheese. And then sometimes people do. So it's really just that learning curve of interacting with people and meeting them where they're at and kind of getting them to be like, no, this is really good. You should definitely have some.
You're exactly right. I mean, it's just literally they just have to change a habit and a behavior, and it's the hardest thing in the world. And if you think about it this way, it's like, depending on where you grow up, there's certain foods that you grow up on that you don't question until you maybe travel or get to another part of the country, and then you tell people about it. They're like, "Wait, what? What the heck is that? What is even in that?" I grew up on the East Coast in Philadelphia. We have a lot of regional foods that people, if you tell them now, if I would mention them, which I won't because a lot of them are animal based, and people are like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "I don't even know. I never thought to ask," you know? But you grow up there and you accept it, like, again, being in Japan. They grow up eating tofu. It's not weird to them. And I think that's really what we need to overcome is like people's, again, like you said, their fear and their hesitation to try something that they haven't before. So it's not weird. And I think you really hit on something there by presenting other fermented foods with it. Because you're right. Sauerkraut, kimchi are having a huge renaissance. I see them all over our farmers markets now, like whole booths that are nothing but sauerkraut and things like that, which oddly enough, I grew up eating sauerkraut. It's not weird to me. I have a German in my family, so we ate a lot of sauerkraut, which is really crazy. So I didn't see, but I do have friends that are like, God, what's sauerkraut? Like, what is that? So I think, removing that whole question of, well, what is it? Can you eat it? Is it weird? Is it going to make me weird? We could really get to the next level, right?